Welcome to the Health Revolution, the program that shows you how to have a life of vibrant well-being. In a world full of noisy health trends, we bring you clarity. We reveal the science-backed strategies that truly work in a sea of fads. We explore the physical strength, emotional resilience, and mental mastery. These are the keys to an enriched life. Join us for inspiring interviews with champions who've conquered life's health challenges. Are you ready to unlock your potential to live with vitality and purpose? Then join the Health Revolution. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, health and fitness expert, speaker, and a mom who understands. Let's embark on this transformative quest. Together, we're about to change the game, starting now. The information provided in this show is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Viewers should use their own discretion and consult with a healthcare professional for personalized guidance and recommendations. Welcome, everybody. You are watching the Health Revolution, and we are excited that you are joining us today. No matter which way you're tuning into us, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button because we want to stay connected to you. Also, at the bottom of your screen, there is a note for show episode notes. Be mindful of that. There's some powerful and important information on today's episode that you're going to want to tap into. And I'm excited about today's episode because it is all about defying ageism and breaking boundaries, up, down, left, right, no matter which way you choose to do so. And our guest today is someone who, upon first conversation, I was inspired and blown away by all the different hats that she wears and how she continues to evolve and serve as an example to all of us, no matter how old we are. I'm excited for you to get to know Elizabeth von Isser. First, watch this. Meet Elizabeth von Isser, a dynamic screenwriter, actor, and producer who is breaking barriers in the entertainment industry. With over a decade of experience, Elizabeth defies ageism and advocates for women's empowerment by bringing compelling, female-driven stories to the screen. As an award-winning screenwriter, her work is inspiring a new generation of filmmakers. Beyond her film career, Elizabeth also channels her creativity through painting and designing her own jewelry, making her a true, multifaceted artist. Today, we'll discover how she empowers women, challenges industry norms, and continues to redefine success. Elizabeth von Isser, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm thrilled to have this conversation. You know, I'm blown away by all the different roles that you have, from behind the scenes to in front of the camera. But as you and I had spoken before, it wasn't always that way per se. So I'm curious, how did you get from there to here? What brought you into the entertainment world, and what were some things that really called you to put your best foot forward and be such an inspiring woman?
Well, I always had a real passion for the arts, whether it was performing arts or fine arts, even in high school. But as I approached graduation, my parents encouraged me to take up a different path. So my father and my brother were both engineers, and my mom really encouraged me to go that direction. She really felt that this would have been the late 70s, early 80s. It was unusual for a woman to take up that career, but she felt like I could really write my own ticket that way, and still perform and do some of my artistic endeavors on the side as a hobby. And so I did that. I graduated with a degree in industrial technology, a bachelor's degree in industrial technology with an emphasis in mechanical design, and got a job with a defense contractor in Arizona, and moved here from the Midwest. and spent a number of years working as a manufacturing engineer. I actually had a number of different career type options in the defense industry. I was a manufacturing engineer, an assembly engineer, a project engineer, an operations engineer. I did all sorts of different things. And it's true, I really was able to kind of write my own ticket. It was very beneficial to me in a number of ways. And I actually met my husband there. We used to work in the same department. And so we sort of spoke the same language and were familiar with the different challenges that each of us faced. So I did that. But then I left and was a full-time mom to our two sons, who are now young adults. They're both in their 30s. So I was a stay-at-home mom for a number of years. And then they went into school, and I decided it was right about that time that 9/11 happened. And I thought that by going back to work, that was my way of supporting the country. So I went back part-time as a contractor, again, as an engineer, an operations engineer. And I would get my boys on the bus. I would drive into work. I would work a few hours. I'd drive back home, get them off the bus. And they never knew I was gone. So I did that until they were both teenagers, and then decided I didn't want two boys home alone with too much time on their hands. So I left again. And this time I decided now's my time to do the things that I'm really passionate about. And so I got my paintbrushes out, got my jewelry tools out, started acting with community theater and doing that more specifically. So,
what I love about your story is that, you've had a deep-seated passion for the arts, and
mhm.
that you took the route of going to school for something else. Now, was that something that you put on the back burner at the time, or was it something that it was a passion that evolved and percolated over the course of years?
Well, I never really put it on the back burner. Even when I was working full time, I still, I was painting, I was doing a lot of craft type things. I was doing some community theater on, at night and on the weekends. So I never really put it on the back burner. It was certainly a secondary thing. It wasn't my primary focus. Mm-hmm.
Can you tell our viewers how old you are? Because I know you and I talked about it before, and
Yeah.
I love the space that you represent.
Yes, I am 65 and I will be 66 in just a couple of months. So it's hard for me to believe that I am, because I really feel like I'm still probably in my 40s, I guess, maybe early 40s. But nope, I'm 65.
And you're still moving. So a lot of what you're doing right now is the fact you're not sitting still.
Mm.
So I love hearing that you did, you took up your own personal space by honoring the things that really drew to you.
Mhm.
So, you had a line of work that you had a great deal of responsibility. At the same time, you've got family. And I think a lot of times women struggle with that,
Mhm.
I'm supposed to be doing this and I really want to do that. I'm not quite sure how all this fits together. What were some things that helped you? What were some elements that really helped you to not take the finger off the pulse of the things that meant most to you?
Mhm. Well, it is difficult, and I think as a society, it's impossible to really be superwoman. And I think, you're supposed to be the best at whatever career that you've chosen, the best homemaker, the best mother, the best wife, the best everything. And it can be very, very overwhelming. And I'm not sure that I did a great job at all of those things all of the time. But I think it's important to focus on those things that are most important. So when I was home, I tried to be as present as possible with my kids. When I was at work, I tried to be as present as possible, doing what I needed to do there, and try not to forget that I have a husband who has needs too. So it's difficult to be a woman. Yeah.
And the other thing that comes up for me is that you never taking your eyes off the love of acting, and
Mhm.
you performing in plays, you then getting involved in the production of plays, and then it growing into new levels where you are showcasing your talent.
Mhm.
How did that chapter come about? So your boys are growing up, things are still evolving, you're still in your
Mhm.
line of work, and then how did you turn the focus, especially being an older woman, that you didn't let that stop you, that this was something that it was a calling, and you put one foot in front of the other?
Right. Um, I think that's just it. It's one foot in front of the other. And uh, where I have gotten to now certainly didn't happen overnight. It was small steps at the beginning, trying new things, not being afraid to try new things, even though, I never went to film school. I didn't have a degree in fine arts. Sometimes it really created a situation for me where, the whole imposter syndrome came out, where I felt like this is what I want to do. And now I'm surrounded by people who have actually been trained in that, and thinking, "Oh, why am I here? And who do I think I am?" But the desire to do it would allow me to overcome that feeling of not belonging. And I think that just by meeting new people, by learning from their experiences, by trying new things, it has developed over the last 10 years. So yeah.
One of the things that you and I talked about before was that, there came a point in your acting career
Mhm.
where roles were becoming limited, and that as you were getting older, it was
Mhm.
quite aware that ageism was part of the landscape in one form or another, or
Mhm.
perhaps there came a point where you were suspecting ageism. What was your turning point in deciding that that was not going to stop you?
Hmm. Well, like you said, my opportunities became less and less and less. Um, I I lost my agent. I lost my representation. They're just, unless I was willing to travel a lot for maybe one or two lines as someone's elderly grandmother, or um, next door neighbor that, was the crazy lady next door, and had a couple lines. And I really wasn't willing to do that because I felt like I was more than that. Um, and I got to the point where it seemed like every, breakdown that I would see as I started to try and kind of represent myself and look for work, it was always looking for women 25 to 35. And the opportunities for me were extremely limited. I would see um, any opportunities for people over the age of, say, 40 or 50 were typically for men. And it was like, well, what about me? So, so I happened to be reading a book about the female Pinkerton detectives back in the 1850s. I didn't realize that there were female Pinkerton detectives back in the 1850s. One of them, the very first one, was actually assigned to Abraham Lincoln as his bodyguard between the time he was elected and the time he was inaugurated to keep him safe because he had so many death threats. And that was very inspirational to me to think that, that these women stepped into a man's role way back in the 1850s and said, I can do this. You need me because I offer all of these other things that the men that you typically have as detectives really can't offer. And so that sort of led me into writing a story inspired by those women.
And I think that's fantastic because I never knew about that before. Of course, we all grew up learning about Abraham Lincoln, but some of the behind the scenes details, this is definitely not common information. And
Mhm.
so the inspiration obviously led you to to take on different roles in terms of how you were going to pursue your role in the entertainment industry. And what was that sealed the deal moment for you, where you thought, you know what, I'm going to march to the beat of my different to my own drum. I'm not
Mhm.
going to fall by industry standards, but I'm going to evolve accordingly. What was it
Mhm.
for you that just really, you said, you know what, that's it, that's the route I'm taking?
Right. Well, I think it was just a lack of opportunity and knowing that I had this ability that wasn't being tapped. And I thought, darn it, if nobody else is going to write a meaty role for me, or even for other mature women, then darn it, I'm going to write it myself. So I had never written a screenplay. Of course, I'd read many screenplays, but I started, writing a bit of an outline and then writing some dialogue, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to write my own screenplay. A lot of people will start with a short, and I just thought, no, I mean, I'm already 65. Well, at that time I was about 63 because this has been about a 2 year adventure for me. But I thought, I'm already this age, and I want to jump in. So I went ahead and dove into the deep end, not really necessarily knowing how to swim, but managed to dog paddle my way. And I wrote the screenplay. I depended very heavily on a lot of other people who were screenwriters and very talented people to guide me and help me navigate all of the rules and regulations of writing a screenplay, and uh, ended up working very heavily with a screenwriter who, I said to him, I was like, why are you investing so much time and energy into my project? And he said, well, I think it's a great story. And if you haven't guessed already, I want to direct this. And I thought, oh, wow, I guess I'm making a movie. So
That's fantastic. You know what? And one of my favorite sayings that in recent times I came across is jump off the cliff and build a plane on the way down. And
Uh-huh.
obviously, this is a testament to if the current protocol to get to that end result is not happening, then you find a different way, run a different play. And so I think that that's fantastic. And I definitely want to get into your project, your movie, and we're going to talk about that coming up. First, we're going to take a commercial break. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this.
So NAD is something that we use for people who are going through withdrawal symptoms, whether it's opioids, whether it's alcohol. GABA receptors in our brain is something that alcohol affects when we drink. So when you're going through alcohol withdrawals and I give you the calm bag or give you calm with GABA in it, it kind of gives your brain that kind of fix, so to speak, of the alcohol to help with the withdrawal symptoms. I'm not saying it gets rid of them. I'm not saying I give you GABA and you're good to go forever. That's not what I'm saying. It's, again, just like everything we offer, it's a relief.
Introducing Launchpad, the perfect partner to help you launch your dream project to the world. We know that time is of the essence, and we're here to help you make the most of it. With Launchpad, you'll get access to the most advanced digital tools and strategies to take your idea from a mere concept to a fully fledged success. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned pro, we have everything you need to make your mark in the world. Launchpad, your ultimate launch partner.
Welcome back to the Health Revolution. We are talking about defying ageism and breaking boundaries, and we're spending some quality time with our guest today, Elizabeth von Isser. She is a screenwriter, an actor, and producer, and she's clearly an example of what it means to take life and all the things that we want to do to new heights, regardless of age. And Elizabeth, before the break, you were explaining in detail about how you got to the point where you were able to create you were putting pen to pad, and with help, you spearheaded your first screenplay. And obviously it led to your movie that we're getting ready to talk about. And I'd love to talk about Kate Hugo. Can you set the scene before we play the trailer bit? Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So Kate Hugo is set in the near future after a major solar storm knocks out technology as we know it. It's a whodunit murder mystery with a little bit of the supernatural mixed in.
And we are in for a treat because we've got the trailer for you. And so we wanted to share this with our audience. Take a look at this.
The following information is part of the National Emergency Broadcast System. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is reporting imminent danger to all major cities around the world from what they're calling a coronal mass ejection event. All residents are instructed to shelter in place.
I'm FBI agent Kate Hugo. When the world fell apart, I was assigned to a special task force. Banking is no longer digital, and I watch over every bank in Arizona. There have been a series of small-town robberies, and during the last one, the teller was murdered. There are several suspects, each with motive and opportunity.
I'm going to do everything I can to find out who murdered Mike.
I'm sure we can agree on one more week. I can help you, Sheriff.
I was hoping that you could increase my credit line.
We need to talk business.
I'm glad you're here, Sheriff. This is all my fault.
Trust me. I have a plan.
Jesus, Liz, Sheriff Ward.
Mike? Noticed anything unusual?
Is that you?
Do you believe in life after death?
Who told you that?
I'm gonna bring Michael Brown back from the dead.
He's right there. Can't you see him?
That was Kate Hugo. And so tell us a little bit about, how long did you see the idea to fruition, and then talk a little bit about the cohesion with the cast and crew and all just how things transpired for you.
Mm-hmm. So I started writing the screenplay in 2021, 2022. It went through, I'm not kidding, probably 40 different revisions. So it started out with a slightly different plot line, and then that really didn't work, and I needed more suspects, and how do I weave them into the story, and how do you create this world that's actually in the future, but technology is in the past. And so it took a while to create this environment and come up with all the different characters, create a character arc for each of the characters. And so the whole writing process probably took about a year and a half.
Tell us a little bit about Kate Hugo. How do we get to know her?
Okay. Well, Kate Hugo, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but she has a very tragic past, and as a result is very isolated, has built a huge wall around herself emotionally, doesn't like to work with other people. She's just sort of a lone wolf. And she is, I don't want to say she reluctantly allows the local sheriff to help her with this investigation of this murder, because he's already sort of inserted himself into the investigation before she arrives. And there's sparks fly. They don't like each other, that's for sure. The sheriff isn't used to having a woman give him direction. And Kate doesn't trust traditional law enforcement because of some of her past experience, even though she works for the federal government. She was an FBI agent before this coronal mass ejection occurred. So she is a federal agent, but she has a much more unusual way of approaching solving crime. She doesn't like to go by the book because that never worked for her in the past.
And I'm picking up the fact that not liking to go by the book sounds like life imitating art, or art imitating life, and so how much of you do you see yourself in Kate?
I see quite a bit of myself. I was able to draw on some past life experiences pretty heavily. And so definitely I see a lot of myself in Kate. And, a strong woman with some tragedy in her past. So
one of the things that I'm envisioning is the fact that Kate Hugo is clearly your baby, in the sense that things were unraveling as you went. And
Mhm.
I can only imagine how exciting that is, because how exciting and scary, because you've never done this before. And yet we're a story developing, seeing how things go. And so what was that like for you to trust the process, even though this was not a path that you were used to taking?
Mhm. It was pretty scary, to be honest with you, some of the time. But I had already invested so much time and effort into it. I wasn't about to let that fear drive my way forward. I knew that if I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, that eventually something would happen. And it ended up really coming together in a way that I never anticipated. We have an amazing cast. Very, very talented actors, primarily local to Southern Arizona. And that was part of my goal. Part of my mission was to have cast and crew that were local to Arizona or to Southern Arizona, because many of us don't get the opportunities that I think we deserve, to be quite honest. So our crew was exclusively local. My cast, with the exception of one actor, Will Roberts, who played General George C. Marshall in Oppenheimer, we brought him in from LA. But other than that, everyone was local. And it came together so magnificently. I'm super excited for it to be released. Yeah.
I'm thinking about something that you said that can certainly resonate with our viewers, and that is the idea that, that you weren't going to give up, that you weren't going to let fear step in, be blindside you, and that this was an opportunity for you. You decided to go full speed ahead. And I think in life, at times when fear gets in the way, or we have limiting beliefs, it gets so big that we start second guessing. And I jokingly say to some people that it's almost like we're double dutching in place, where we're not keeping the value and the action steps in front of us, that we're not implementing. So if we just stop and we fixate on fear, certainly that'll stall our momentum. But what I love about what you're saying is that that didn't happen with you, that you just had this drive and determination to keep going, regardless of that there was no guaranteed outcome on the other side, that this was a
Right.
chance you were willing to take. And
Mhm.
say to people who just are stuck in the land of, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what to do, like what
Mhm.
comes up for you when you come across that vibe, when somebody is struggling like that?
Well, I saw a quote recently that that I really loved. Kate Blanchett is attributed to it, and basically says, "If you're going to fail, fail gloriously." And I thought, even if this never makes it to a theater, or even if it never makes it to streaming, I am going to give it everything I've got. And if I fail, I am going to fail gloriously.
And I think the difference maker is those action steps, that you keep your foot on the gas. And
Mhm.
and let me know your thoughts. I think oftentimes when we take a big leap of faith, where we get in trouble is if we take one big giant step and then we sit back and then we, quote unquote, we wait to see what happens. So if we do that, then of course we're losing that momentum and we're losing movement forward. Whereas in your example, and then of course the failing gloriously, the analogy is you keep going, just
Right.
you're going to go all out, but then that action is going to lead, it's going to get you somewhere. It's going to get you going in the right direction because of that, because that's the end result. Action has result. And so I'm just inspired by the fact that you just decided, you know what, I'm going to do this. We're going to assemble a cast and crew, and it's going to edify Arizona, and we're going to tap into the talent. We're going to see where this goes. And so as production was wrapping up, what was that like for you to be able to take this elsewhere and then go, all right, we're ready for the next step. We're going to produce it. We're going to get it out there. What was the next step for you with that?
Well, when we wrapped our principal photography in May, again, all of this was a learning experience for me. I had never written a screenplay. Of course, I'd acted before, but I'd never acted as an executive producer before. And boy, I tell you, I'm really glad that I didn't necessarily know what I was getting into, that I just sort of went into it, because every day was a learning experience for me. And so we are still in post-production since middle of May. We have a picture lock, which means that the film itself is edited beginning to end, and it's 107 minutes long, and it's with our composer right now. That's sort of where we are stuck at the moment, because making movies is a very expensive thing. Even though we stayed under the SAG ultra low budget of $300,000, we stayed at about $287,000, which to make a movie is nothing. Trying to generate those funds through donations, we have a 501c3 fiscal sponsor, has been challenging. And so we're sort of running into the end of our financial means right now. But that isn't stopping me either. The American film market is beginning of November in Las Vegas for the first time. And I'm attending, and I am trying to get meetings with sales agents and distributors who realize that we are so close to a completed film that I'm hoping someone will say, wow, that's great. Let's take it and we'll help you finish and get past the finish line on that. So I'm taking classes. I'm learning from people who have been to AFM on how to approach different sales agents and distributors. And I'm going to try and get it out there, get it into theaters. I would love to have it in select theaters across the country, domestically, and then internationally before it goes to streaming.
And these are fantastic goals. So the American film market. So that's annually, and that and so that's an opportunity for movie makers, filmmakers, if you will, that connect and convey the message and really highlight your work. And so this is a level of pounding the pavement that that obviously your excitement is going to take you. And so. What is your goal is for this to be distributed everywhere, to be in films and in theaters. What do you have a goal date? Do you have a specific timeline in which you'd love to see this happen and come to fruition?
Yeah, I would love to see it in theaters by spring of next year, late spring of next year. So, we are so close to having a finished product that I don't think that is an unrealistic goal. if if I'm able to find a sales agent or distributor who is excited about it, as I am, and my producing partners. So, yeah.
And you're extremely multi-talented. There's so much to cover. I know we haven't even scratched the surface with your jewelry and your painting and what you do as you personally tap into art in that regard. First, we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break. We will be right back. Stay put. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this. Thank you so much for watching The Health Revolution. Our show is growing, and it's all thanks to viewers like you. No matter how you found us, please hit the subscribe button so we can stay connected and continue to deliver amazing content to you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fit Bites. Today we're diving into why strength training isn't just for athletes, it is literally anti-aging. Now let's explore how this essential form of exercise keeps us strong and vibrant, especially as we grow older. Strength training encompasses various forms, each with its own benefits. There's traditional resistance training, which uses weights or bands to build muscle and bone density. Then there are isometric exercises like planks or wall sits, where you hold a position without moving to improve stability and core strength. We also have isometric resistance training, where you push against immovable objects. Now, this method increases muscle tone and strength without the wear and tear of moving weights. So, why is this crucial as we age? Strength training boosts metabolism, maintains muscle mass and bone density, reducing the risk of osteoporosis and falls. It keeps our bodies capable and functional, allowing us to enjoy a high quality of life as we age. Incorporating strength training into your routine a few times a week can make a significant difference. It's about more than just muscle. It's about empowering your future self. Stay strong, stay healthy, and tune in next time for more Fit Bites.
Welcome back to The Health Revolution. We're spending quality time with our guest today. She's a screenwriter, actor, and producer, Elizabeth von Isser. We are also highlighting defying ageism and breaking boundaries, no matter which way we turn. And we just highlighted her incredible piece of work that is soon to be in theaters, Kate Hugo. And now that's not the only creative outlet that you have, of course. And I want to talk a little bit more about how you continue to embrace the arts in the form of painting, and then how you begin to design jewelry. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I have always been a painter, in that even, in junior high and high school, I enjoyed painting and designing, that sort of thing. But when I first left my job with the defense industry, that was the first thing that I picked back up and really did in earnest. I ended up getting some gallery representation. I had a painting that was selected for a national museum tour. I really enjoyed, I'm very nearsighted. And so I'm used to looking at things very close up. And so I tried to express what I see on the canvas, and primarily picked and continue to pick florals, because there's a whole world. When you look really closely at a flower, there's a whole world that a lot of people miss because they don't look closely enough. So I was doing that. I've always been interested in metal work. And so I started playing around with copper and copper smithing, and watched a lot of YouTube videos and things like that. Tried to make as many mistakes as possible with copper, because it was much less expensive than silver. And once I felt like my techniques were better, I went ahead and started making some silver jewelry as well. So sometimes I combine both metals, copper and silver. Sometimes I just use silver. Then I started playing around a little bit with enameling and just, experimenting with different things. Yeah.
Let's see if we can bring up obviously a snippet of your exquisite jewelry. Talk about the theme that you're wanting to convey, or even the mood that the vibe that you are wanting to that you want to transfer from your work.
I think probably everything that I make definitely is inspired by nature, not necessarily showing trees or flowers or birds or things like that, but certainly the colors found in nature, the shapes found in nature, and it really begins many times with the materials that I have that I've collected. I also collect vintage jewelry and resell vintage jewelry. And so sometimes what I'll do with a piece of vintage jewelry is, if it really is in disrepair, but there's a certain piece of it that is amazing and interesting to me, I'll incorporate that into a new piece. And so it's just sort of, jewelry allows me to be a little more creative, a little bit more experimental, I think, and is just more of a fun, stress relieving outlet for me. Because if something doesn't turn out quite right, well, I wear it myself, or
Well, they're exquisite pieces, of course, that very beautiful indeed. And how does your work in jewelry lend itself to what you do for the arts, for behind the scenes with the camera and showcasing Kate Hugo? What elements do you draw from jewelry making that allow you to show up the way that you do?
Well, when you're making jewelry, you have to be very patient. And if you're not, and you try and rush things, you make mistakes and you have to start over. And so I think being patient, planning ahead, using the right tools, all are skills and learned behaviors that work well in filmmaking as well.
I want to circle back to Kate Hugo and just share a little bit of information. We've got another screen that we want to highlight. Talk a little bit about some of the informative pieces, the info to know about Kate Hugo that we can find right here.
Sure. Well, the website is katehugo.com. So it's a simple website to get to, and that has all sorts of information, a lot of behind the scenes information. It has a way to sign up for the newsletter. I try to release information to our newsletter subscribers first before I share that on social media. So the QR code that's on there takes people directly to the website. It also shows some of our main cast members, and there's also sort of in the newsletter section, I've got a library of past newsletters, and if anyone wants to sort of know more about me and why I did what I did, and how they can help, there are past newsletters that say, why me, why now, and why you, and explains a little bit about my thought process and why I decided to take this leap of faith.
Important information indeed regarding Kate Hugo and what an exquisite work that you are doing. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We are coming right back. Stay there. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this. Welcome back to the Health Revolution. We are talking all things defying ageism and breaking boundaries. Our guest today, Elizabeth von Isser. We've been spending quality time with her, screenwriter, actor, and producer. Elizabeth, where can we find you in the virtual space?
Oh boy. So since I have so many hats that I wear, I have lots of different social media contacts. So my website for acting is elizabethvonisser.com. I also have the katehugo.com website that I mentioned earlier. I have intocreation.com, which is for my painting and my jewelry. And I maintain all those websites by myself too.
Well, obviously, you've got different handles for your jewelry, the social media, and then, of course, Facebook and Instagram for the other hats that you wear, obviously, that we have that here. And we are flashing that across the screen for our audience to see. You're obviously representing in so many different spaces. I'm excited for you. And what do you hope? What one question I do have for you real quickly, what is your goal or your vision for women in entertainment going forward?
Mm-hmm. I would really love the entertainment industry in the United States to take a cue from the entertainment industry in the UK. Many of their very popular crime dramas, especially, have leading ladies well over the age of 40, and they're extremely popular. And I don't think that the entertainment industry in the States has gotten that memo that they can have leading ladies who are over the age of 50, and that their shows will be popular and their shows will be financially successful. And I'm seeing more women, mature women, who are being, highlighted in the entertainment industry, but for the most part, they're A-list actors or maybe some B-list actors. But I think that's a good direction. But my goal is to help show that there are a lot of us out there that are valuable, and
Yes, You drove the point home that being a leading lady in life just can transcend in so many ways. And best of luck to you, Elizabeth von Isser, screenwriter, actor, producer. Good luck to you in the American film market in November. And we certainly can't wait for Kate Hugo to be everywhere. And thank you so much for your time, your energy today. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And for all our viewers, of course, you can find us on the web. Our website is thehealthrevolutiontv.com. There you can subscribe to our newsletter. You can certainly email us with any show ideas that you would love for us to tackle. Upper corner of your screen, you will see our QR code. And then, of course, you can always count on us to be on E360 every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Achieve TV channel and other distribution handles. That is all the time that we have. Until next time, take care of yourselves. We will see you soon.